Okay, AZ Bill 3433 here once again, out in the garage today. And as you saw from the pictures, that we started this DIY of a aluminum inverted stove. What I actually showed was a fixture that I made up, this was maybe a year ago when I first started to make these stoves. That was nothing other than a piece of scrapped wood. And the two ends on there that actually contained the bottle are just they were paint stirrers from like a 5-gallon bucket paint stirrers that I got from Home Depot. Put that together with some Gorilla Glue. That's all it is. I didn't screw it together, Gorilla Glue. Now you can use that both for marking on the bottle and you can also use it for cutting on the bottle. I did both, but right now I have this all set up in a combination metal and wood miter box that I bought from Amazon, this is maybe 6 months or better ago. And I've got it set up against a stop over here, so I have something to push it up against. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the technique. Now every one of these techniques I'm going to show you are really ones that I got off of other people's. I kind of combine all the good techniques that I found. And so all of these are the techniques that I think that make the best final product. So here we go. I'm going to show you here. I'm not going to do the whole thing on camera here. I'm just going to show you a little bit of what the technique looks like. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it real easy here. But what I'm doing is I'm going to rotate the bottle around as I go. And what you're really doing is scoring the bottle here. We're not really trying to cut through. Now if you cut through this, what would happen with it is you would distort the edges here on the cut edge. And what would happen is you wouldn't get a good rollover. It would either stretch the edge or dimple the edge, and that's not what you want to do. So you're going to want to just keep rotating it, whether you have a fixture like this or one you make up yourself. The reason I put that tape on the one that you see, I think in one of the pictures, that was the way I used to do it, and that just gave me a guide that I put my hacksaw up against as I was cutting. So what we want to do is just keep rotating this around, take it easy, don't push it real hard. And what will happen is, and I don't think if you can see the score here, we're already started. As we rotate this around and cut through, it's actually going to snap off at the end. So I'm going to finish this up and finish up this blank here. And then we're going to go to actually preparing the edges for putting the holes in and also for doing the rollover. So I'll be back with that in just a minute. I'm going to keep doing this and get the blank all ready. And we'll be back and do the preparation on the edges. Be back in a second. Okay, we're back. We're ready to put the holes in, and I'm actually going to put the holes in before I roll it over. And one reason, there are actually two reasons why I do that. And the first reason is that it's going to be easier. When you drill through the body of the can, you're going to create burrs on the inside here. And this is just one facet of trying to be, careful and make these as best you can. So you did see one, this is a long time ago. Again, I've taken all different videos that I've seen in the past and put them all together to the best process that I think that makes a best stove. So consequently, there's burrs that you see on the inside here. You don't see them when you roll this over, then do the holes, but they're there. And, could they constrict the flow of gases? Maybe, maybe not. But anyway, it's a lot easier to do this than when it's rolled over, so you don't go through and you roll it over. You have actually the thickness on the inside, and you really have to watch how much you penetrate into the outside. So I've just found it easier to do it in, before I actually roll it over. Now, the holes, I'm putting in 24 holes, and let's see if you can get this up. There we go, upside here. Now, this template I got off of Zen Stoves on the internet. You can look at that. There's all sorts of circle templates or all different size or numbers of holes and that kind of stuff. And you take one off of there and cut it up to match the inside of this somewhat. That's what I did. And then actually on the bottom here, there's a piece of cardboard with some Scotch tape, so it sticks on the bottom of the on the bottom here. I can actually peel that off. If I can get underneath it here with my fingernail. Yeah, you can see it. It's got Scotch tape on the back with a piece of cardboard. And all these are marked on here. Now, there's one here, let me see, this one right here. That's my indicator. That tells me that when I rotate this around in my drill press, that this is where I'm going to start. And then as I rotate it around, this is where I'm going to end. So that's the reason why I have that. Now, maybe you don't have a drill press, you don't want to drill it with a Dremel, or you want to drill it with your own drill. I got the numbers here for you. The actual diameter, let me see if I can get all this in here. Let's see, am I getting all that? I guess I'm getting most of it in there. It's the diameter of the bottle is 2.320. That's kind of the average. It's not exactly round because it can be off by several thousandths. If you take that number times pi, you get 7.288 and divided by 24, you get 303, which is right around 5/16 of an inch. So if you want to make a strip that'll fit around the circumference of the bottle and then have different marks on there that are about 5/16 apart, or you can fudge it to try to get them as equal apart as you can and then tape it on to where we're going to put it. And where I'm going to put those, I've measured that since I've made these several times. I got my master here. This is my master. I think this was number 10 that I made, and I started to make them with a 4-inch blank. And this is my master. It tells me it's got a short height. I made this one a little bit shorter because I like to burn on the shorter height where the jets are. And it's 24 holes. And if you measure from the bottom, this ends up being, with the 4-inch blank, ends up being almost exactly 2 inches on the total height. So if I cut, and I want a 1/2 inch from the top to where the hole starts. So of course then from the bottom here, we want to go up 1.5 inches. So I'm going to set my drill press up with a stop and everything else. And you'll see that I'm going to, we're going to go over there on the drill press and I'm going to drill a few holes in here so you can see how I do that. So anyway, I'm going to set it up for 1.5 inches from here to the holes. And then as soon as I get that all set up, I think that's all I need to tell you on this go around, other than I hope you saw that that there was no distortion at all on here. You don't want that to be distorted. This has to be absolutely clean, burr free for when they do the rollover. And then once we do we're going to actually come back and sand the inside where the drilled holes are. And then what we're going to do is, and I'm going to show you just in some pictures how that's done. I'm going to come back on all these holes with the number 58 drill. That's what I'm going to drill these for. Number 58 drill. I'm going to just hand poke them out again, because when you sand this on the inside, you roll some of that back into the hole. So I'm going to go back and poke all the holes in there again. Sounds like a lot of work. Yeah, it's still a lot of fun. And it makes a pretty damn good stove. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set up, and I'm going to show you how I do it on a drill press, and be back in just a second. Okay, we're back. We're going to put the holes in. Let me just explain one thing here. I've got a piece of paper that's in a kind of like a plastic sheet. And right here, because this has a laser, right here dead on the center, I actually got a hole in here, and I put like a thumbtack, and there's just a small hole in the base here. And I lined this up, and I've got several different lines that go laterally this way. This one here right in this direction here is my center line. The back plate here is on a line that is actually half the diameter of the aluminum bottle. So when I put this down, I know I'm halfway through. I got a backstop here. And so all I do is I'm going to indicate here where my start is. I put my indices on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just rotate this around and around and around and around until I got my 24 holes here. Now I'm going to put in at least a couple here, but you don't need to see me put holes in. That's kind of boring and it doesn't mean much. So I'll just put the first couple holes in, and after I do that, then I'll stop this and we'll come back, and I'll show you how we clean up those holes that have the burrs on the inside. Again, this is before the rollover, so let me get this thing started here. I have an old 58 drill in here, or number 58 drill. I'm going to put my head down here, so I put a hat on so you don't see the back of my bald head. And we're going to put that on the first hole here. Come down. And we're just going to rotate this around to the next one. Put that hole in. So I'm going to do that on all 24 holes here. Okay, I'm going to finish this up and I'll be back in a second, and we'll see how we clean this up and do the cleanup, and then we'll go to the rollover. Be back in a minute. Okay, we've got all the holes in, and I think you can see I got a pretty nice close-up here. Yeah, it looks pretty good, but you can actually see all the burrs that have been created by the drilling through the can or through the bottle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some sandpaper and sandpaper as much of that down as I can. Then I'm going to come back with a number 58 drill just by hand. And I have to put that under some light so you can actually see the holes a little better when you're poking the holes through. And I'm going to just poke through the holes again in case I roll over some of the material back in again. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to do that on camera. I'm probably just going to do that off camera for now. And so I'll be back. And actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to end this as part 1 right here, and I'm going to be back for I'm actually going to show, I think, next, making up the die, which is probably, I guess, maybe the most important thing, when it comes to rolling this over, and talk about the die, and then we'll do the rollover, and then we have one other thing, one final step that I have that I think maybe we'll find interesting. So this is the end of part 1. We'll pick up part 2 coming up soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.